So last lesson you looked at genetic inheritance, where we looked at how you inherit from your parents. So for example, we looked at how the baby or offspring would be a boy or a girl, and we put that onto a Punnett diagram or a genetic diagram. Today we're going to be doing some more Punnett diagrams or genetic diagrams, but this time we're going to be focusing on the two inherited disorders. So by now you should have watched the two attached links on cystic fibrosis and polydactyly. And what I'd like you to do first of all is answer the questions on what the two symptoms, what the two inherited disorders are. For example, what is cystic fibrosis, what is polydactyly, how are they inherited, what symptoms, and so on. So if you could attempt them two first and then move on to the actual Punnett diagrams. Now what I have done is put a few different examples down of these, so that if you do get them in exam questions, you know how to attempt them. I do want you to use keywords when also mentioning what they are and the symptoms and so on. For example, dominant, recessive, homozygous, heterozygous. So just to give you an example, draw a genetic diagram to show how two parents without cystic fibrosis could have a child with cystic fibrosis. Include the probabilities of each combination of genes. Okay, so it's saying here, draw a genetic cross. So genetic cross is already drawn. How two parents without cystic fibrosis, so they both don't have cystic fibrosis, but they could potentially have a child with cystic fibrosis. So what that means is that they would be carrying the actual gene. They do not have cystic fibrosis. In this case, what I'm going to use is a capital F and a lowercase f. So if, for example, this was the mother, okay, and we know from the question, from what the statement, it says they don't have it, so we know that she definitely has one capital letter, one dominant allele there. But we're saying, what is the chances of them having a child with cystic fibrosis? So that must mean that the mother must be carrying one of the recessive alleles for cystic fibrosis. And again, the same applies to the father in this case. So I'm just going to put a capital F for father there, and again he would have the same in terms of the alleles there, so a capital F and a lowercase f. Now it is very important that you use the correct combination of letters and make them look different. So for example, a capital F and a lower f, and make sure they do look different. Again, we're going to apply the same technique as we did in the last lesson. So all we are doing is pulling it going down and across, so capital F and capital F. Same again, so down and across, so capital F, lowercase f. Okay, same again, capital F, lowercase f, and down and across. And in this case, it's a lowercase f and a lowercase f. Bearing in mind, every box is worth 25% only, no more, no less. Okay, so now what the question is asking is, what are the chances of the child having cystic fibrosis? In this case, we know that cystic fibrosis is recessive, so it would mean that the child needs to have both recessive alleles, two lowercase ones. If we look at this, there's two capital F, so that's definitely not a chance. We've got a capital F and a lowercase f, which means that the child is going to be carrying the cystic fibrosis allele but does not actually have cystic fibrosis. Likewise with this one again, capital F, lowercase f, so the child is going to be carrying it but not actually having the disorder. But on this occasion here, it's two lowercase f's, which means that the child will have cystic fibrosis. So that is the probability, or we could say it's a 1 in 4 chance, or we could say it's a 25% chance that the child will have cystic fibrosis. Ultimately, which means we need to total it up to 100, there is a 75% chance that the child will not have cystic fibrosis. What I'd like you to do now is read the remaining questions and complete the Punnett diagrams. So you have another 3 on cystic fibrosis, but then you also have 1 on polydactyly, and then you need to draw another one. Please make sure you read the questions carefully and draw down what it is asking. Please include the probabilities or the percentages of the child having or not having the polydactyly disorder. Thank you.